What do you want to talk about, Mikey?
Yo, what's up, bro? I think I spoke to you like last month, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. Sorry, it's all these conversations.
You're from New York, right?
Yes.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Oh, I did just want to answer. The personal detail made me think about it, but I do just want to answer for the chat. I'm 30. Somebody asked my age. I'm 30.
What do you want to debate about?
I don't know. You're the one who called in. I mean, I want to debate about what's happening in America right now. I want to talk about Trump.
Well, we both live in New York. We could talk about New York.
I grew up in New York. I live in Minnesota.
Currently, you're in Minnesota?
Yeah, I've lived in Minnesota for 10 years. I grew up in New York, though. Moved to Minnesota when I was 20. Now I'm 30.
You still got family here?
Yep.
Also, they definitely update you on what's going on.
Yeah. I'm aware. Like, you know, I've been following what's been going on with Mom Donnie and all that. Like,
do you? Sorry for cutting you off. Do you feel like Ma'am Dammy is wrong for not condemning those two kids as terrorists, but blaming white supremacy?
For what are you talking about the
incident
with Jake Lang?
With Jake Lang, and
I didn't see what Mom Donnie said about it. Can I look up his quote?
Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna defend Jake Lang. He was obviously being radical in his own terms, fucking goats and stuff. Literally bringing a goat. And,
yeah,
you know,
just for people listening who maybe don't know about this, Jake Lang is one of these like alt-right, like actual like white nationalist.
Yeah, he is.
I've had a couple brushes with him because I live in Minnesota. I live in Minneapolis, and he comes here. He's been, you know, I've been close to the guy at these protests. But he's one of these people who shows up and like actually says that we need to deport like every non-white person. Like this guy's a terrible piece of garbage. So
I'm not gonna lie. He is pretty radical, but I think Mom Dammy is a terrorist. For blaming white supremacy on that situation, but you're not going to condemn somebody who potentially threw a BOMB that could have unalived many people.
Okay, so I'm going to read for everybody what Mom Donnie said about it, and then you and I can discuss it. Okay, because I don't. Sure. I think I'm a little suspect of a person calling a Muslim politician a terrorist. I wonder,
he also spoke on it.
But I'm going to read this out loud before we have that conversation. So I'm just going to read this out loud.
Pull up the video also of him speaking on it if you can.
Maybe I will. We'll see how the conversation goes if I feel like learning more after we read this and discuss it. So he tweeted yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang, what? Unoriginal reproduce. I don't know why I keep getting the same restriction. All right, I'm not going to reset the stream. Sorry for the interruption.
You want to kick me out? And
No, it wasn't you. I think I'm going to take the sign down. I think. Are
we allowed to say the T word?
I don't know. That this is an issue that's been going on with my streams today. This isn't like a you issue, but I'm just gonna not reset because I don't feel like it and I want to talk to you. Okay. And I appealed it. We'll see if it gets appealed. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to read this. Yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. Such hate has no place in New York City. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. What followed was even more disturbing. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. The attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, but it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are. I want to thank the brave men and women of the NYPD who acted quickly to keep New Yorkers safe. Our officers ran towards danger without hesitation, demonstrating once again the courage and dedication it takes to protect this city every single day. My administration is closely monitoring the situation, and I remain in close contact with our police commissioner. Okay, so what's your problem with that statement?
He's not condemning the two kids who came there with a rhetoric, but he's condemning.
Okay, so I would argue. So what he said is that Jake Lang did this thing. Where he had a protest.
Jake Lang is a white supremacist, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, wait. So I just want to address what you just said about what Mom Donnie said, which is that he said this is bad, and then he said that what followed was even more disturbing. So he did say that what they did was worse than what Jake Lang did.
But no, what I have a problem with is that he's not condemning the exact people who did it with their rhetoric. Just like how Jake Lang is a white supremacist who looks like a crappy guy who acts and does crappy shit, calling him a bigot. Why is he not condemning these exact people for what their rhetoric was as well? He's not going to bring up the fact that there were two Afghanistan Muslim kids.
Wait. So you want him to attack their rhetoric, but what did they say?
No, I want him to attack why they were out there and why they...
But all he has to go on is what they did, which is that they came to this thing and they hurled an explosive...
If he wasn't a Muslim politician, they would have said it was a terrorist attack. Simple as that.
I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's really important for people in positions of power to not declare things terror attacks without like...
Okay, because he's Muslim. He's a jihadist, bro. Isn't it not obvious?
No, it is not obvious.
It is obvious.
You think that the mayor of New York is a jihadist?
100%.
Let's see if we can get a statement from Mamdani on jihad.
Mamdani practices taqiyya, bro, and it's obvious. His wife is absolutely disgusting with the stuff that she reshares and posts on Instagram. It's known to mankind that these people
if you're gonna assert that Mamdani is an Islamist, which, by the way, I don't think that reading that statement suggests that he is. He said that.
I have one question, bro.
Okay,
if
you keep
you
moving
become
on.
mayor, right? If you become mayor, doesn't your wife become a public figure?
Okay, what I need for you to do is to listen to what I'm saying, which is that you're asserting that Mamdani is a jihadist. I would like your evidence for that claim.
He's a jihadist. He's protecting Islamic people and what they do.
Who is he protecting who are doing like bad things?
By him making that statement about how Jake Lang is a bigot and he's a white supremacist, and then
and then said what followed was even
okay, but he's not condemning the people and their stature.
He is right here on
so
the screen
why didn't
in front
he
of
just
you.
say
He is
why
saying
didn't he just
that what followed here. Look, first paragraph about Jake Lang. Second paragraph, what
about
followed
nobody
was
about
even
nobody.
more disturbing.
Okay,
he's saying it was worse.
But who made it worse?
We
don't know. But why isn't he talking about the people who made it worse? Why is he
people who brought
them?
violence to a protest?
What people?
The people who brought the violence to the protest at the Jake Lang protest. He's saying right here in front of you, he is saying that it is worse. Why
Any
are you not?
person who isn't into politics who would just read that on Twitter is not going to understand what the hell is going on and why that happened.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question.
He's not making it.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
No. Nope. 1 second, sir.
Nope.
Sir.
Not timeout. It's my. I'm gonna put you in timeout, and I'm gonna ask you a question.
I feel like you haven't letting me speak, and I have to say this one thing.
Say it. What is it?
Why isn't he pointing out the fact that Jake Lang came out there to do an anti-Islam protest? He's not even pointing that out. He's blaming it on white supremacy and calling him a bigot, bro. Why isn't he saying that?
He said that his protest is rooted in bigotry. It's on the screen right in front of you.
Oh my God, bro. Yo, if this was any other mayor, this would not be typed out this way.
Right, but you're saying that this says something that it doesn't, because it says right here that what followed, the violent attack that happened at this protest, was even more disturbing. He doesn't know. He doesn't. Do we know this person's name? I mean, have we caught this person? I'm not really sure. Like what?
Yes, bro. Yes, dude, brother.
Okay, slow down.
Yes,
you don't
bro.
need to jump down my throat. I'm just saying.
I'm not. That's how I speak.
So he's not giving name and face attention to the person who did this bad thing.
Of course he's not.
I would argue that's a good thing. Politicians shouldn't do that. People do these sorts of attacks to get attention. He's saying that is even more disturbing. He's saying that violence is bad. He says the attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, but it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are. He's saying right here that this is worse than the Jake Lang thing at the top. How are you not understanding that?
When did I ever say that what happened wasn't worse than what Jake Lang was doing? Obviously, what happened was worse than Jake Lang's actions. My point is that he's not specifying who's doing this or giving it enough attention because it's for his own rhetoric. How would he look bashing his own people? He's not going to condemn his own people. He's going to say what happened, the situation, yes, was bad. But he's not going to say these two kids' names that from Afghanistan who had rich ass parents and big ass houses in Pennsylvania. He knows all of this stuff, bro. But he don't care. He's going to condemn the situation, but he's not going to be like, Jake Lang was an anti-Islam protester who was protesting against Islam and what's going on in Iran and what's going on in all these places.
Right, but a politician cannot speak to rhetoric when there is no rhetoric to speak to.
Why was Jake Lang in New York?
Answer me this. You're saying that Mamdani should have responded to the rhetoric of the people who did this attack, right?
Just like how he did to Jake Lang, yes.
Right. The person described in this paragraph where he says that this is bad, violence is a protest.
Sure.
Right. What is their rhetoric? What did they say? You're saying that he needs to respond to their rhetoric.
He needs to respond to the two kids who were screaming Allahu Akbar, throwing a bomb at Jake Lang and the police. Simple. And he's not doing that.
Okay.
He's just saying it was a bad situation. But why did the situation occur? What was Jake Lang doing in New York City? Being a white supremacist?
Okay. So their rhetoric in the language they speak is God is great, right? That's what Allahu Akbar is. I'm going to assume that you're right that they yelled that when they threw the bomb. Okay.
Allahu Akbar, Bismillah, yes.
Okay.
God is good, only one.
Okay. So what exactly is it that he's supposed to respond to that saying?
First, he should have acknowledged Jake Lang was there for the simple fact of what's going on in Iran, and he feels that New York is being conquered by Muslims. You need to acknowledge that.
Those are your opinions, not his.
But just saying he's a white supremacist is blanketed, bro. Sure, he's a white supremacist, but why was he in New York? Why was he in New York, bro?
Dude, I don't understand what you're trying to argue.
Why was Jake Lang in New York?
Because he runs around trying to cause problems at protests. I don't know exactly what he was doing in New York.
Why? Okay, so you see, and like New York is literally getting conquered right now by Muslims, bro, and it's happening in real time.
I need evidence to that claim. What do you mean New York is being conquered by Muslims?
Look at the data. Look how many Muslims are here compared to 5 years ago. Compared to 6 years ago in Biden's term. It's absolutely disgusting.
Over the course of the history of the United States.
Bro, City Hall, they're sitting down.
You're not letting me talk. You're not letting me talk.
City Hall?
All right, I'm going to boot him because can you let me talk? I'll give you one more chance. Can I respond to some of what you're saying?
Sorry, I apologize.
Throughout the history, there was a time where you could say that the Irish were invading New York. There was a time where you could say that the Chinese were invading New York. There was a time before that where you could say that the Africans were invading New York because they were coming up from the South after being freed as slaves or escaping slavery. Throughout history, whatever group's population is growing in New York, racists and bigots have said, look at them taking over our city. No, New York is the melting pot. That's what New York does. In fact, America is the melting pot. Yes. It's what we do here. Right. So what is your problem with that? You're not making a cogent argument for anything serious happening in New York when one dumbass threw a bomb at some white supremacist. It's serious what happened, but I'm just saying it's not a demonstration that there's 10 million people in New York.
There was a white man with white people protesting Islam in New York City. Two Islamic men knew that, and they came to unalive Jake Lang. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what the news topic should be. Simple. And it's not going to be put that way because we have a Muslim mayor in our city who is practicing Ramadan in City Hall right now.
I think it's important to take this sort of violence and say that it's bad regardless of like the underlying like belief.
I'm not going to propagandize tragedy in general. Yes, all tragedy and bad stuff are bad. I'm not going to compare anything that's also bad to something that's bad. All bad is bad, bro.
It sounds to me like you're just Islamophobic.
See, you're a white dude using a word that the Islamic people made up to oppress the American people in other countries.
I'm a 9/11 victim asserting that you are being Islamophobic.
Bro, all the shit I post on my Instagram, you are the people I speak about. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't watch your Instagram, and I'm not going to.
You're a leftist, and you ruin countries, bro. You leftist thinking people, bro. How am I Islamophobic, bro? Why are you trying to oppress me for it, bro?
I mean,
how am I Islamophobic?
Because you're basically asserting that Islamists are taking over New York. You're saying that the Muslim mayor of New York is a jihadist. I think.
How am I Islamophobic? What am I doing right now?
I just answered that question. Are you?
How am I Islamophobic, bro?
You just accused without any evidence whatsoever that the mayor of New York is a jihadist because he's a Muslim.
Whatsoever. So his wife not liking all those stuff on Instagram, like basically glorifying the death of people in Israel, right? Honestly, I don't know. You know why? I'll tell you why. I'll give you the reason, and you ask me why.
That's what I asked you to do.
One question: when somebody becomes mayor, don't their wife automatically becomes a public figure? Yes or no?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yes, it's just yes. If you became the mayor, bro, your girl's a public figure, and what she does affects what you do.
Yeah, I recognize that. Like they have a social. Sure. Okay, you're not letting me talk. You're talking over me, dude. Like let me get.
I'm trying to explain though.
Okay, I'm just saying that. Like yes, I recognize that regardless of whether it's like with the president, their wife is the first lady. I recognize that. That's like a role. I don't know if the mayor's wife has like a title, but I recognize that they wield social and political power as the wife of the mayor. I recognize that. What are you trying to tell me about her?
She has over 2 million followers on Instagram, which I was surprised she had that many followers. The reason I call him a jihadist because jihadists practice taqiyya. That means they lie. They lie to their privilege and to get their upper hand. If they need to lie, they lie.
Sorry, I'm just looking at your.
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, watch my recents about them speaking about leftists, people like yourself. Please watch it. It's 2 minutes long.
I'm just not interested in talking.
Sure, because you're going to ignore the truth, bro. How about you just watch my recent posted?
I'm not going to give you the platform. You don't have evidence to
see because you're gonna listen to it and you're gonna be like, damn, and then you're gonna like
because I've asked. You've asserted that Mamdani is a jihadist. And
can I explain why?
I have been sitting here waiting. Please
a jihadist practices taqiyya. Taqiyya is something that the Quran teaches is for radical people to lie to your own advantage or if you need to. He lied and said that his wife has nothing to do with him being a mayor. And even though he's the mayor, that does not make her a public figure, or does not mean anything she does on her Instagram or anything has to do with him. Why is he lying about that?
Okay, so you're saying that he practices this taqiyya thing. Why does that make him a jihadist?
Jihadists are radical. Jihadists do taqiyya. Jihadists are the people that are ruining countries.
Yeah, and Nazis wear shoes. I guess that makes you a Nazi, right?
Okay, who the hell is a Nazi though? We're Nazis right now.
Do you understand the argument I just made?
Okay, but can we name any radical Nazi right now?
Okay, no, you're missing my point. I need you to answer my point, which you pointed out that he does a thing.
You're making a weird point.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to quietly listen, and I'm going to explain my point again, and then I'd like for you to respond to it. Can we try that?
Sure. Will you watch my recent video?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I just said.
Kick me.
Why? Because I won't watch your video?
Because you're being weird and you don't want to accept how I feel about things. You just call me Islamophobe, but you don't even know why I'm posting these stuff. This girl's like, look at his posts. Why am I posting them? Because I'm Islamophobe? Or it's because I care about my grandchildren.
Right. I will.
Or my great-grandchildren. You don't care about that. You're probably not going to have kids, bro, and you're like 35.
I'm sure not going to have kids out of it.
I know you're not going to have kids, and they like people like you. That's why you should watch that post even more, because y'all the reason America is falling.
All right, so first Islamophobe of the day.